Hey YouTube, how's it going? Hopefully you're going to be able to hear / see me in the dark and the wind. In fact, I think you can see my skin and how shit it is, which is a shame, even in the dark. I'm having a fucking crap day. I'm having one of those days that makes you wish so hard that you still smoked weed. I would love to go home right now and have a massive joint and forget about the world. Because this whole like sober thing, I mean, I've got my bottle of wine, great, moved to a new addiction, but this whole sober thing sucks. You go home, you get like maybe 4 hours after you work a full-time day. By the time you're commuted back out of like central London on the tube and crushed onto tubes and all that bullshit, by the time you get home, you're like 4 hours. If you sit down to watch a couple of crap things on TV, it's bedtime before you know it. And then you just dread closing your eyes, because you know as soon as you do, the next thing you know, you're going to be opening them and it'll be time to get to work again. And it's just like you never really go home during the week. You just work 5 days straight. That's what it feels like, with a little break in the evenings to have some dinner. Hey, a lot of you won't need me to bellyache about how shit it is having a full-time job. Mind you, a lot of you are sitting around on YouTube, so some of you probably do need me to describe what having a job is like. And some of you are probably very unhappy with me for bellyaching about having a job during a recession. But I've just had a really shit day. And, you know, if it makes you feel any better, I'm unlikely to have this job for very long. I'm on a 3-month probation period, and I doubt I'm going to get kept on after the 3 months. I think they'll get rid of me while they still can. Made a few too many stupid mistakes. I don't know why I used to think that I was such a, like, I don't know. I used to be really negative about myself, but I still always used to think that I was like in some way an undiscovered genius that one day would just like have their moment, and everyone, you know, doesn't everyone feel this way, or at least most kind of insecure and pretentious people feel this way. You know, that one day everyone around you is going to realise that you were special all along, you know? It'll be your day. I'm starting to realise that it won't be. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, then you would remember me basically saying that I'm worried that I can't actually hold down a full-time job because it kills my soul. And I kind of mean that quite literally, like, well, I suppose that's a better way of putting it than killing my soul, killing my spirit, which is true, and it probably does that to everyone. Everyone seems a bit downtrodden. People of a certain age in the office don't seem like they've got much sparking anymore, and they just, all they can do is make small talk. But no, I'm quite serious. Like, my last job, I was there for working full-time. In the temp job, I was there for about 3 months before I started to get quite majorly depressed. And I'm at that point again. I've only been here for a month and a half. Not so much that I have a problem taking orders or a problem with authority, just I have a very selective... I can accept orders from a very selective type of authority, very select type. Anyway, whatever. Not going to work out. I'm thinking I'm going to have to at least give it a go, starting my own business or something, because really, being 25 is too young to give up and just be like, oh well, take my soul. I'll work 9 to 5 till I die in something I don't give a fuck about. I just think little things make a big difference, or rather, maybe I mean like work 9 to 5 in an office job, because I think if my job involved moving around a lot during the day, going to different places, meeting people, rather than working with the same people at the same desk every day, because I'm not very good at interpersonal relationships at work. Like, my interpersonal skills leave a bit to be desired, I think. Maybe I'll do better at just only having to meet people once and get the transaction done. I don't know. I think that being a bum would be preferable. You know, I've got an American passport. I have this like dream that one day I'm just going to move to California and I'm going to go surfing every day, and I'm just going to do like the most basic bar work like 3 nights of the week to pay the rent. You know, I'd live a really hand-to-mouth crappy existence, but at least I'd have a sense of being free and actually living it. I've never even been to California in my life, so I bet it's just as disappointing as everywhere else. But it's just something about a place where the sun shines, and that's so important if you have seasonal affective disorder, you know. And just do something like that. I don't mind being a 50-year-old bar woman. You know, I actually got so desperate in my office job. Maybe I shouldn't. No, I refuse to be censored just because the sex positive community might take offence, but my personal view on this is that I actually got so desperate at work, I considered going down the road to the Spearmint Rhino to see if they would take me on as a stripper. But then I suppose there are strippers that are empowered by their job, yada yada yada. My personal opinion, don't get all fucking up in arms as usual. Anyway, I wouldn't make much money as a stripper. I can hear the men's rights activists saying it. And would I really want to? But at least if you can make decent money and not have to work too many hours, at least you don't work an office job. Don't know, there has to be a way out. There has to be a way out. Maybe it's about improving. I'm so sorry, I know this isn't interesting. To me, it's kind of almost like desperate that it gets discussed. But maybe there's a way of like improving your life by increments. So you've got to work a full-time job in an office, then you move to Brighton where your boyfriend is, and you know, Brighton's a bit more chilled out than London, and you can walk to work in 10 minutes rather than like commuting on the tube an hour each way in a miserable environment. You know, maybe people at work are a little bit stressed out and miserable than they are in London. And then from there, maybe you can, because you pay less rent or whatever, you can get a job for 4 days a week instead of 5 and write novels. And I kind of think you never hit the big time, or you never get discovered, or you never like reach that level of success without taking a few risks. And I'm young enough to take risks. But the fear of taking so many risks that you turn around at 45, 50 and realise that you've got nothing for yourself, and you don't own your own house, and you don't have a career because you haven't spent your younger years building one, because you spent too much time pissing around with some dream that you actually wanted to just be a beach bum in California, and then you realise at a certain age you can't support yourself and you have no pension. That's the fear. That's ultimately why these people work these jobs. That, and they have children, which is just a major mistake. If you're willing to give up the kind of enrichment of having kids, then you're actually gaining like a certain amount of freedom that, you know, I've watched my mum kind of basically piss away her life because she couldn't do anything about it because she was a single mum with 2 kids. I kind of think if I don't have kids, then anytime I want, I can just hand in my notice, piss off to Florida, get a job in a bar, whatever. I'm not talking at all compellingly. It was kind of bad because before, when I smoked weed, I was much more interesting. Go figure. But I was watching back yesterday a lot of my old YouTube videos when I was at university, and I was more depressed than I am now. Back then. This is, by the way, this is me coming home to my empty house, the joy of my life. Hey cats. But yeah, I mean, I was more depressed than I am now, or, well, getting to that point again, but it seemed a lot more compelling and interesting. I had more to talk about. Now I'm just like, being at work, commuting, so shit, so boring. You wait there, on top of the fridge. Yeah, I'm not going to do that all again. Yeah, really sorry about not saying anything, because if you don't want to watch it, you don't have to. In other news, what have I got in common with you? Not very much. YouTube, I have in common with you. I've learnt the way to neutralise trolls is just to be really nice to them. Often they'll just act like quite surprised. And then pretend like they weren't trolling you all along. I learned that yesterday. Like, the guy kind of, what's his name? I don't know, but it was the second comment yesterday on my video yesterday, if you wanted to go back and find it. And he was like, you know, watching your videos makes me feel so much better about myself, because all I have to do is watch your videos and whisper to myself, it could be worse, it could be worse. And I was just like, oh yeah, I'm really glad. Smiley face that I helped you. And someone else tried to get on board with that as well, and I was just like, you're very welcome, glad to have helped. And I meant it as well. I wasn't just trying to, like, get them to stop trolling me. It's kind of like, I just can't even take, I just, like, the idea that you think that I would take you seriously when I don't even take people in my own life seriously. I don't take my boss seriously. I can barely take my own mother seriously. So I'm really quite an impossible person to troll. Also, because I frankly detest myself to such a level that anything you say is something I already think. Which makes me quite difficult to troll. But, I mean, it actually makes me feel, like, good to do that, to neutralise trolls in that way. I saw quite a sad documentary. In fact, I came in and my mum was watching this. She was like, what's a troll? It really made me laugh. I'm just wandering back and forth now aimlessly. Let's stop this. But anyway, yeah, there's this TV programme on the other day about trolls. And about this girl, I think she either killed herself or something like that. And you just feel really sorry for any 15-year-old that feels like other people's opinions are that fucking important. So maybe it's true that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It doesn't feel that way, but maybe it's true. Okay. Yeah. Shit. I'm gonna get sacked. Back on the job market. Thank fucking God that I live at home and not in my own rented accommodation. I haven't just moved out with my friend, which was the plan. Thank God I decided to save up for a couple of months first, because now I can, you know, stay where the fuck I am in case I'm unemployed for another year, like most graduates, 40% of graduates in the UK. Yeah, and I'll just have to live with the fact that I pissed away my job. Checking Facebook of all things. I don't even use Facebook. I just get so fucking bored at work. And I can point to these like 8 or 10 emails that I send out every week going, guys, I don't have any work. Does anyone want me to do anything? You hired me as an admin assistant, but then you glare at me when I don't assist. You haven't given me a job. How am I supposed to assist? What would you like me to do? I mean, it's a brand new, clean office. What do you want me to do? Go around dusting windowsills? There's nothing to do. Why shouldn't I be on Facebook? The idea that I could sit there reading like the terms of reference for the company for 8 hours every single day is ludicrous. A really cynical part of myself, because we would kick off in April, which is when my probation period comes to an end, and a really cynical part of myself thinks that they only hired me to help them get set up for that, and that they were looking to get rid of me after 3 months, but I suppose that's bullshit, because why wouldn't they have just hired me on a 3-month contract if that was the case? People are desperate in a recession, people would have gone for it. Whatever, this is so not interesting. Well, if I upload this to YouTube, you'll know that I'm really scraping the barrel. Okay, I'm going to go. Hopefully there's some kind of escapist television on TiVo and I can just forget about the world for the 3 hours it takes me to go to sleep and wake up and do it all again. It's no way to live, though. My mum was right all along. You needed, like she always is, actually, you need to do something you care about, something meaningful, or at least something enjoyable. Or you need to work, you know, it doesn't have to be, the job itself doesn't have to be meaningful or enjoyable, as long as, like, the people you work with are quite nice, and you just have a laugh in the office, or, you know, you feel valued and you think, you know, people make you feel like you're indispensable, and rather than like yesterday where I made someone a big cheese, like a big director, a cup of tea, and they just let me put it down on the table in front of them and walk away without them saying thank you at all. Like, I don't care who you are, like, there's nobody too fucking important to say thank you when someone makes you a cup of tea. It's so rude. Like, what is it with success and manners? There seems to be a correlation with success and lack of manners. Maybe I should start being a total dick at work. I might become more successful. People might not treat me like the tea girl. Which I am, the tea girl. It's in my actual job description. Make tea and coffee for boardroom. Really glad I worked so hard on my degree. Thanks, Tony Blair. Okay, sorry. Alright, I'll find something outside of myself to talk about. Some other time. Cheers. Thanks. Have a good day.